Well, let's get started. Welcome to our webinar tonight. We have some important things to discuss. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to go through a series of slides here tonight and take you through what I think are some of the more compelling reasons why one would want to involve themselves in a great new business opportunity. I think regardless of where you live today, things are tough out there. And in fact, there's hardly a country, an industry, or a profession that's not being affected in some way by the economy. So the question is, if you could hire an experienced business consultant or say an analyst, and they were to look at all the opportunities out there, and they would leave out the emotion and the excitement and just look at the criteria that they always use to select the very best business opportunity for you, what would that criteria be and where would it lead you? Well, let's first look at the state of people in North America. This table is very telling. Let's only look at the green and the white on the left column right now. These two little slivers right here. About 6% of the people would be making over $60,000 on an annual basis at retirement. Now, if we go over to the table on the right, I want to pay attention to just the 1% here. That's the athletes. That's the superstars. Then all of a sudden you have the yellow and the green and the blue. But now look at the red. This red area, the people that made that kind of money over here in the 6%, did it by owning their own business. There's never been a bigger battle cry to get in and own your own business than we see today in the world. In fact, governments are incentivizing people to own their own business because they understand what's happening. Like it or not, believe it or not, the pure genius of structure is that of network marketing. There is no question that it is the most powerful business model in the entire world because you have ownership. You can create leverage. You can have security, freedom. And for those who want to, they can build a legacy and leave a legacy. But don't be fooled. The industry standards tell us, and the data comes back and tells us that there are many, many people who do get fooled, that the too good to be true often is. And so one must find the gold standard in that industry. Let me take you through a little chart here. We call it the opportunity renewal cycle, and this will be very key for you to understand. Over here on the bottom left is where every company starts. You would lose about 90% of the companies in this little perforated line here at about 35 million in sales. In other words, they just didn't do the things they needed to do, have good management, good leadership in the field, good solid product, government approval, have proper funding, and so they go out of business here. The 10% that go on to make it to this point reach a defining moment, a moment when that product that they're selling, whether it be weight loss or financial services or you name it, starts to decline in popularity, and they have a big decision to make. Are they going to pour in the millions of dollars in product innovation and new discovery in order to keep this going, or are they just going to rest and say, well, we'll try to figure it out? Because if they wait too long, like so many do, and then try to create it, even though they might get a hump, they have sunk down in their numbers so deep that they lose most of their leaders. So the question is, again, if you had that analyst or that expert business consultant and they were out looking for somebody who had mastered this, where would they go and what would they find? Well, let's take a look at one company as a case study. In 1984, they began, one of the first companies to ever start in Utah. They began with a simple line of products that you can see over here in 1984. But it was only a couple years before they said that has started to lose its excitement and luster. And they found a great product out of Europe that just catapulted the company into a whole new opportunity renewal cycle. 1992, 6 years later, they came out with the first multivitamin, antioxidant, chelated mineral formula on the market in a satchel that was convenient, and it again took the market by storm and created another opportunity renewal cycle. In 99, 7 years later, they came out with a new line of skincare, and then in 2003, 4 years later, they came out with one of the greatest instruments. You may have seen it on one of the network shows on TV, where one of the most respected doctors used it to scam the audience and himself. Well, let's take a look at how that has escalated. Now, in 2005, you start to see some incredible changes and a more frequent opportunity renewal cycle. From the LifePak Nano, the best of its kind anywhere in the world, to the raging galvanic spa that arguably has more celebrity endorsement from people who are in the public than any other product without ever paying for advertising. It's amazing to see the celebrities, the newscasters, the broadcasters come out and say that's what they use. And now all of a sudden you see this word age lock start to appear. It's that subject that we're going to talk about tonight, because now you can see this opportunity renewal cycle is on an annual basis. Every single year we're coming up with new age lock proprietary technology and science that literally is allowing us to grow by the hundreds of millions of dollars. And it allows us to lead with whatever the hot story is. The hot story of the moment is that we need people helping us launch 2 new products that will be introduced in October, and early forecasts say that we will move $50 million worth of this new product. That's a brand new piece of pie that doesn't exist. $50 million is the forecast for October. That would shatter every record in direct selling history for a live event and the product sold prior, taking orders prior to that and at that event. But if that's not enough, in this same age lock science and technology we're going to talk about is a day and a nighttime formula, which at night detoxifies the organs, the cells, and the genes, and in the day revitalizes those genes. We are going to spend more time. But regardless of whatever it is, you get a chance to lead with a hot story. This product broke every record in history when it was released at its convention as an age lock product. Or you might even look at our Vitameal, our product that has now fed more than 220 million meals to starving kids. You see, that's the beauty, is that things are always moving forward. So let's talk a little bit more about these products here. This is the Body Galvanic, or the Body Spa. How many people do you know that have lost weight, that are trying to shape their body into a better form for self-esteem, that they may have a little sagging on their neck and chin, under their arms, cellulite on the buttocks and on the upper legs, stretch marks on the tummy, all kinds of things. You can't even begin to talk about this product and its 2 accompanying products that go with it. Again, proprietary, patented products, without getting people excited. And we have a chance to go out and start taking orders for those right now and then have them shipped in convention. And here's the day and nighttime formula. I'll go through the science in just a minute, but suffice it to say, if there's a $50 million plus piece of pie out there, that's bigger than any direct selling company in the world. New one will grow this year as a new company, and we can create it just in that innovation renewal cycle. Now, for those of you who have said yes, but there's other players in the anti-aging world, and I've heard this story before, the answer is no, you haven't. If you have, it's just hype, because there is nothing like this. Our partner, LifeGen Technology, has published over 300 scientific papers on this topic of gene expression and gene profiling. Simply said, your DNA is not your destiny. It doesn't matter that your parents gave you a certain DNA strain and that you're going to follow it. It is the way your genes express themselves, and we now know that that can be changed and influenced. We jumped a long ways when that human genome was mapped, but it wasn't until this company put the money in and acquired the necessary partners to enter that race, and we can boldly say, almost like Apple does in their commercials, a little bit edgy, a little bit bold, we won the race. There's nobody else even in the race when we look back because of the science and the technology that separates us. So you can see here on this screen of all the accomplishments so far just with age lock, going to prove that this is a global phenomenon. And we want you to be part of it. We don't want you to think again that you're getting hyped or sold something that can't be backed up scientifically. We could spend hours on the whole gene expression story, but suffice it to say, you cannot find a credible scientist or even a researching physician that reads the material that does not understand that this is the future. Now, here's a little test. And so if you were the network director at CNN or CNBC or the Charlie Rose Show in 60 Minutes, and you were finding out that the public wanted to know about anti-aging and the subject of genes, you'd probably go out and do your research and find out who the #1 expert is. Isn't it interesting that they all chose the very same person? And Dr. Richard Weindrich just happens to be one of the partners at LifeGen Technology. No coincidence that all roads lead back to this, to Rome, to that very group in LifeGen Technology. And so the awards that we're winning as a company and the acknowledgement and recognition, because we're on this incredible journey now with the AgeLock platform, has allowed us to get one of America's most trusted companies, nominated by Forbes.com, winning Stevie Award. So this is a phenomenal, phenomenal ride that we're on, and that's why we want you to be part of it. Now, because this subject is not all that easy to understand, a book has been written by Dr. Joe Chang, who sits at the top of our scientific advisory board. And Dr. Joe Chang, after writing this book, watched this thing hit the New York Times best-selling list almost immediately. And the reviews that came in from some of the most credible doctors and researchers in the world were absolutely shocking. So here you sit with an unmatched scientific team. Most companies would look and say, you know, we have a few people in a lab coat and we outsource some of this. Not here. 100 world-class scientists joined with an amazing scientific advisory board. And just watch as these names come on. They read like the who's who in all of the necessary specialists. You can't do research on this advisory board and find one of these people that would be willing to sacrifice their reputation that they have gained over years and years at accredited universities and establishments just to make money and join a project that was going to tarnish their name. Not one of them would be involved in that. And so this should be your signal that if they're willing to put their stamp on this and join together and believe that what we have will change the anti-aging world, I believe you can too. Now, there is an obsession to stay young. Excuse me, let me go back here. Can you believe the amount of money being spent in billions of dollars, according to researchers, just in this anti-aging market? It's not just the elderly. It is amazing that 91 million consumers purchase aging products, and approximately were under the age of 40. So are we at the right place and the right time? The trends would say absolutely yes. So who's behind all this? Well, the company is traded under the New York Stock Exchange ticker of NSE. That stands for NUSKIN Enterprises. Dun & Bradstreet gives it its highest rating. We've expanded over 50 market. We're at about $1.6 billion in sales, $800 million in assets. You can read the rest of this. But it's not necessarily where we've been that's exciting. It's where we're going. You see, it's hard to put the combination together that we have. Most of the time you must trade security for fast growth and ground floor opportunity and roll the dice and take that chance. But not here, because that company mastered this opportunity renewal cycle, and you're right in the middle of it. Do they believe that it's going to happen? They just invested $90 million into the building that you're looking at on the right side in the atrium that actually goes across the street that they purchased in anticipation of the increase in sales and the needed space to accommodate the billions and billions of dollars that they are anticipating that we are going to make. Now, I always show this slide because I want you to know that in addition to making high-quality products for skin care and internal nutrition, we also used our scientists to come up with a formulation that would help malnourished and starving children get what they needed in places that they normally couldn't get it to help them develop in their brains and their bodies and break the cycle of malnutrition. As I said earlier, over 220 million meals and growing strong. Have you ever wanted to be a social entrepreneur, a person that literally could say that in my lifetime I helped save thousands, maybe tens of thousands of lives? Well, it's all part of the same program, and we weave it into the same compensation plan. So there you have it. We could go into the science in great detail, but with the credibility that you've seen, we know that we can change the way you age. You can live younger longer. This isn't just about trying to put more years into your life if they're not quality years, but it's more life into those years. And if you look and do the research, you will see. Just Google in LifeGen and read about caloric restriction. It is the only science over 30 years that actually has proven to be a true anti-aging science that when used properly in this caloric restriction, which is just one of the areas we're in, preserves the body in a way that nothing else has. So I would urge each of you, no matter where you're at in life, no matter what you've done, if you've tried multi-level 100 times and it didn't work, or you've never heard of it, or you've never done it, it doesn't matter. Our culture is such that we grab the best of the best. This is the ultimate business opportunity. It really is. You can't go and get a $1 billion+ foundation. The ability to work in 50+ markets will be opening up new markets of Vietnam. That's just kind of on the quiet news right now. We just opened up Argentina. There's many, many more markets to open up, but because of age lock, inside of every single open market is an entire new marketplace for people who may have heard of the NUSKIN of the past, but haven't heard of age lock in the business we have today. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope that this does not give you the disease that we call entrepreneurial insomnia, where you simply can't sleep. One thing I will assure you, I've been in this business 20 years, but I'm still actively recruiting now, and I get to talk to new people every day. You will not find a better company with support. You will never find a better culture. You'll never find more dedicated scientists. And I don't believe you can find any company, especially when you look at this company just broke into the top 10 direct selling companies anywhere in the world that can compare. In fact, the head of the Direct Selling Association just retired after 20+ years, could have gone anywhere to consult, and he came to NUSKIN and said, this is where I see the greatest potential in future, and they have married together, and he will now be part of our team. So wishing you all a very safe evening, and please get with the person that invited you to join us today. Talk to them. If you have questions, get them answered. Join us. Together we can make a huge difference. Wishing you all the best, and thank you so much. Take care.